Hey guys, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and create the settings page now, and the settings page is a real simple page. It's just going to look like this. It's going to be just the name of the person, followed by the user details button, which will take you to the page where you can change your details, and then a logout button. So that's all it is, a real simple page. So go and create a new file. So new file, and save this in the root of your website, and call it settings.php. We can open the PHP tags up, and then the first thing we need to do is includes / included files.php, included files.php, because those are all our classes. And then underneath there, all we need to do is create a div, and this can have the class entity info, class equals entity info, which we've already styled, so we've already done this. And then inside there, create another div, and this is going to have the class center section, which I believe we've also styled as well. So off the top of my head, I think we did that, so that should be fine too. And then div, and this is going to have the class equals user info, which I don't think we've done that. Although I could be wrong, I can't remember. It's been a while. I've done a lot of recording, and now my brain is going crazy. So let's create an h1 tag in there, and this is going to be the user's name. So if you remember in included files.php, if I can open that up, so we have this user object here. So we can use that to get the user's name. So the only issue is we don't have a function that does that yet. So open up the user class and just create a new function, public function get first and last name, like that. Real simple function, and all it's going to do is make a simple query, say query equals mysqli underscore query, and put con in there, and then we can say select all from users where username equals, in your single quotes, just put this arrow username, like that, which is the username at the top of the class. Okay, and I want to show you a cool little trick. So go back to our PHP MyAdmin and open the users table and click on SQL. Well, actually, you don't have to do this. You can just watch me do it if you want. I'm going to show you a little trick. We can select first name, comma, last name from users where username equals, and then just any username, so my one for example, and that will return the first name and the last name column. Great. That would mean we just need to get this and then get that and concatenate them with a string in between. But we can do that in the query itself. So we can actually get rid of the comma and put this inside of a concat function call, like that, and wrap the last name with the closing parentheses, and in between that put a comma, and let me just execute this, and it will concatenate the two of them. So you'll see Reese Kenny, like that, two together. But I can also edit that further and stick another string in between. So I can say empty string in single quotes, has to be single quotes because this is a MySQL query, and press go, and you'll see we have the first name and last name concatenated for us. We wouldn't have to do it in our code, it's right there. And if you remember from the last video, we specified a column name as well using as, so we can do this, which will join the first name and last name, and then we can say as name, which allows us to specify the column name that we're going to use to reference it, and that means we can use name to reference it in our code. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to copy this. You guys can type it out. Instead of selecting all, I'm going to select concat first name space last name, so it's concatenate all of these together, and then as name. And name is what we're going to use to reference it. So to get the first name and last name, we can say row equals mysqli underscore fetch underscore array, just like that, and pass the query in there. And as usual, we can just return row and then the column you want to do, which is name, because that's what we called it here. And this will now return the first and last name. So let's call that function. So I'm copy the name of the function, go back to settings.php, and inside there, I'm going to open my PHP tags up. I'm going to echo user logged in, which is our user object, arrow, and then the name of the function we just created, and then close the PHP tags off. Save the page, and let's go and refresh it. And we'll go to the settings page, I should say. I suppose that's, the link we have for that is profile.php, so we don't want to call it that. Let me just go to settings.php just until we change it in the navigation bar. And we have some errors here. Undefined variable con, and that's a pretty rookie mistake on my part. It shouldn't be con, it should be this con, like that. And this will work now. And you see Reese Kenny right there. That's what we want. And then the last thing we're going to do is just create the two buttons, and this is going to be really simple because we've styled all of this before. So go back to settings.php, and all we need to do is just give that class equals button items, and then create a button item, and this is going to have the class equals button, and the text can just be user details. Copy and paste that line below, and then this can just be our log out button, so log out like that. Save that, refresh the page, and you'll see the buttons there. So to center that, we just need one bit of code, and I know what it is. This is for the user info part. So go back to your CSS, and all we're going to do is just dot user info like that, and then h1 because it's targeting the h1 tag, and simply put text, align, and then center, and that is it. We're done with that, except for the functionality obviously, but we'll get to that. And that didn't work. Is the cache cleared? Let me check. Inspect element, refresh, or hard reload. And that was a problem. The CSS file was cached. And that's it. So the settings page is done, or the layout anyway. We still need to do the functionality.